Scott Baker. I'm president of 5 Generation Bakers, and we make Jenny Lee Swirl bread. As the name suggests, I am the 5th generation of my family in the baking business. My great-great-grandfather started baking back in 1875. He started a little retail bakery right on the west end of Pittsburgh, and his sons grew that to be one of the largest wholesale bakeries in Pennsylvania. At one point in time, they had over 425 employees baking breads and pastries and good things. My grandfather started Jenny Lee Bakery in 1938, and in 2010, I started 5 Generation Bakers to keep that Jenny Lee brand name alive. And it was very important to me to keep the traditions, the recipes, all the styles that my grandfather taught me and my dad taught me going. So I kept the recipe that was handed down to make this delicious bread. You can see inside my bakery there with just some of that film of how we go about our process. It's really important to us to use the most wholesome ingredients that we can find. We source Vietnam cinnamon because it's some of the best out of. There's my dad. He's kind of our quality control manager, just making sure that we're doing things right. But those ingredients, it's just really important for us to use fresh, wholesome ingredients. There's only about 13 ingredients, maybe 1 or 2 more, depending on if it's the cinnamon raisin or the cinnamon chocolate chip. But we've used the best ingredients that we can find to make sure that we're putting a product in your mouth that I would feed to my own family, something that would be wholesome and delicious and, good for you, just minimally processed. We start by taking, just those 13 ingredients. We mix them in the bowl, and we produce in small batches. It's that small batches allows us to create that yeast activity. We let that bowl ferment. It's about 380 loaves per batch, so it's a small dough, and that yeast activity starts creating acids and alcohol, which gives a really good flavor to the bread, and it also imparts a better mouthfeel and texture to that finished product. Once the yeast activity is got the right fermentation, we take that dough to our production table. It's thinly sheeted. We sprinkle on some cinnamon sugar, and then we swirl it up. And at that point, the bread goes into this old-fashioned style crimp pan. This is really what gives us our unique shape. This is a 2-part pan. I just have the bottom here. The lid looks exactly the same. We would put that dough inside the pan, and then it would go into the oven. Once it's baked and out of the pan, we let it cool for about 2 hours, and then it goes into a butter bath. Just imagine a tub filled with melted butter. We literally are tossing that bread in there and bathing it in the cinnamon in the butter, and then we toss it in cinnamon sugar. From the cinnamon sugar, it goes to our slicers where it's pre-sliced for you. You get about 18 to 19 slices per loaf. We package it, and then we ship it to you. The deal what you're going to get today is you're going to get 4 loaves, 4 of those pre-sliced loaves. They're going to be shipped to you within 2 days of leaving my bakery. So you'll get them nice and fresh. It'll come ambient. What you're going to do when you get those loaves at home, put one on your counter, go ahead and taste it, maybe put a slice in the toaster and butter it and enjoy a quick taste of the cinnamon goodness. Take a loaf and go over to your neighbor, knock on their door and give them a treat. And you want to treat your neighbors like you want them to treat you. So it's the best way to have a good relationship with your neighbors. And then take the other 2 loaves and stick them in your freezer. They're going to freeze great for several months. You can just pull out a couple slices at a time as you need. Once you finish the first loaf, bring the next loaf out and let that sit on your counter again. You're going to get another 7 days to 10 days out of that on your counter. So some of the great things you can do with this bread, really, it's up to your imagination. There's so many ways you can prepare this bread. I mean, a quick breakfast in the morning, just put a couple slices in the toaster, put a little butter on that, and you're eating that on your way out the door with your Yeti cup of coffee. But if you got a little bit more time, it's Memorial Day weekend. What a perfect weekend to be lazy and have a nice longer breakfast time with your family, a brunch maybe. Take the time to make French toast. This is something that your friends, your family, when they taste this French toast, they're going to be, wow, that is so much flavor. It's really incredible how the good bread is the difference in getting good French toast, having a good cinnamon swirl, good cinnamon flavor in that bread. So that's my favorite way to treat my family for a nice breakfast. You can really, if it's a special breakfast, take a little whipped cream and put that right on top there, and Just take it up a notch. Um, One of the ways my wife treats me generally during the week, she makes breakfast before I leave the house for work in the morning, and she'll make me a breakfast sandwich. Really, you can toast that, or you could French toast the bread, but to just make it simple, we generally toast it, and you put a little cheese, some eggs, some bacon on there. That sweet and savory flavors combine to give you a truly delicious breakfast. That's something that's going to make you feel good each day before you start your work day. We have a lot of fun with snacks at home. There's, just we're very athletic and active people, so we eat a lot. That's just part of our lifestyle. So we eat a lot of snacks, and one of our favorite ways to make a snack at home is to make these little fruit pizzas. So you take a slice of bread, you can use a cream cheese. A yogurt, like a good white yogurt on this would be something special. We like to use sour cream actually because that little bit of sour flavor mixed with the sweetness and then the tartness of the fruit is really special. But again, let your imagination go wild. You could use blueberries, strawberries. I made some apples and orange and a little bit of raisins here today, but there's so many different ways that you can make a quick snack with, and we just call it a fruit pizza, and the kids love it. And then a go-to lunch. Everybody loves a PB&J, right? I mean, I'm 50 years old and I still enjoy a good PB&J, but again, take it up a notch. PB&J on a cinnamon swirl bread. It's just something that is so elegant, so delicious. It has those kids coming back for more. Some of the things, it really makes that bread special is the butter and sugar coating on the edge. How many kids don't like the heel of the bread? Well, everyone's fighting over the heels of Jenny Lee swirl bread. You can see this is the best piece in the bag. There's two pieces. You get one at the top and one at the bottom because that's the ends that were in that butter and sugar. And so kids are fighting over that generally. But what you're going to get today, we're going to send you 4 loaves of cinnamon swirl, 4 loaves of cinnamon raisin, or 4 loaves of cinnamon chocolate chip for $32.50. Or you can get that for 4 easy pays of $8.13 a piece. Today's your M number is 83403. And it is on auto ship, so you can get this every 60 days. Go ahead and check off the auto ship when you get that, and make sure you don't miss out on this bread repeating. I want to tell you our number one seller is this combo pack here. If you look at the my rack, in the combo pack, you're going to get 2 loaves of cinnamon swirl because the classic cinnamon swirl is our number one seller. So that classic, we're going to put 2 loaves in there, and then 1 loaf of cinnamon raisin and 1 loaf of cinnamon chocolate chip. A little tip on that chocolate chip we like to use the larger chips that called 1000 count, and it's a little bit bigger chip. And when you make French toast with that and you serve it right hot off the griddle, that chip is still kind of warm and melted, and it's just like a little pool of chocolate when you bite into it. It's so good. When you get your cinnamon swirl, when you get that cinnamon swirl, you're going to get a little instruction on how to handle the product. This will tell you, how to keep things fresh. And we also like to throw in there a couple recipe cards. So, you can use my recipe to make French toast, or there's a delicious recipe for bread pudding. It's an amazing treat. So I would like to toss this over to Jennifer Kovich. Jennifer, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's awesome. I love your presentation. I love the fact that you mentioned that you're an active family and you're a family that eats a lot of food. And what comes to mind for me when it comes to being active and athletic is something like this with white rice, that high protein rice that you're going to get here. This is such